the PTF said the calls will be placed to the heads of the security agencies today, definitely, as this briefing is ending, and it is expected that the harassment and mistreatment will not continue, because the heads of the security agencies are expected to make calls and also give the right operating order to their operatives who are on the field, so that our colleagues do not continue to have nasty experiences.
Okay. Thank you, Mitari, for that. And earlier on, we had an interview with the Major General John Enenche, Coordinator, the Directorate of Defense Media Operation, where he tried to explain more on the issue of harassment of essential workers.
Is it possible that your personnel have not been adequately briefed on the people who have been exempted from the 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew? I'm asking because we have reports of personnel preventing reporters from getting home after the close of work, because sometimes we close as late as 11 p.m., but some of them are not being allowed to go home.
We were adequately briefed, and the men out there were adequately briefed. The problem is that we have a lot of curfew breakers, people who are not keeping to the guidelines provided for reasons best known to them. So you come to the checkpoints, you see that the queues are so long, and then people are just there who are breaking the curfew. Then secondly, for the first leg of this lockdown that we had for the first 4 weeks, there were a lot of people who forged identities. The identifications that they gave them, both for the journalists, for the medics, for the essential staff, they were forged. So this time around, we needed to take more proactive steps to ensure that people that identify themselves are properly done. But the major problem there was the people that disobeyed, and we had long queues, to be able to sort them out one after the other before they could pass. Otherwise, we were adequately briefed, and they were briefed about the non-essentials.
Now, these are difficult times, no doubt, with a very difficult situation for both parties. Yeah. So what else is the military doing to ensure that personnel handle this situation with a human face?
Yes, in short, I would tell you that we got the report up to early hours of this morning. I was virtually awake throughout the night, from around 9 p.m. when the crowds, the traffic started mounting. And I got reports of even people from media houses that closed late, not being allowed to pass. And when we tried to say where are they were far, far behind the queue, medical staff and all. So we now came up with a meeting today, which as I speak with you is on, so that we can now find alternatives to how we sort them out. But more importantly, I will appeal to the general public to know that when there is a curfew, it's a total, stoppage of movement. It's nothing like you can move between the hours of 8 p.m. and then the 6 a.m.
Let's talk about the rules of engagement in all this. Have the terms changed?
They have not changed at all. It is minimum necessary effort to ensure that the people conform to the guidelines.
On the flip side, what happens to any erring personnel caught being hostile or overzealous?
Any personnel caught being hostile, overzealous, reported, and we find the person must be sanctioned.
My colleague Nta2 Tijani there, speaking with the coordinator Defense Media Operation on the curfew and essential workers. We now join Ruth in our Lagos Network Center for top stories from that zone. Hello Ruth, you're on.
Thank you, Hawa. The first batch of Nigerians stranded abroad due to global lockdown caused by coronavirus pandemic have arrived the country from the United Arab Emirates. The 256 returnees were received by officials of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control at the international wing of the Murtala Mohammed Airport, Lagos. Abolade Salami reports.
National operations, the returnees were subjected to compulsory checks by port health workers, the immigration and security agents. In spite of certifying their health status, the country is not taking chances. Arrangements have been made for compulsory self-isolation for a period of 14 days.
In line with the existing protocol, before anybody could be allowed to come to the country, they had all to be tested. And information we had that they are all tested negative. So that's why they have been taken to the isolation center for the existing protocol that we have in the country.
Although journalists were not granted access to the returnees, but the look from their faces depicts joy, hope and satisfaction of returning to their motherland. Officials from the Nigerian Diaspora Commission said their documents and health reports were processed before departing United Arab Emirates, but that will not stop them from complying with the Presidential Task Force directive on isolation.
It's what the NCDC requires, it's what the Presidential Task Force on the COVID-19 is part of the requirement, it's part of the Lagos State requirement. So assuring extra layer of safety is not far-fetched.
More Nigerians who have signaled their intention to return to the country due to the coronavirus will be arriving from the United Kingdom and United States of America in the coming days. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
Government and key players in the health sector all over the world are relentless in finding a permanent solution to the novel coronavirus pandemic. In this report, Hengino John Adams takes a look at initiatives being taken by the Flying Doctors of Nigeria to make testing safer and further enhance the protection of health workers during this pandemic.
Health workers are not spared from COVID-19 as some of them are being infected on the line of duty, sometimes even with the personal protective equipment. Limiting the level of exposure of health workers as they take samples for coronavirus tests has been a source of concern globally. Localizing solutions to COVID-19 in Nigeria is what birthed this initiative, a COVID-19 testing vehicle with a barrier between the patient and the health worker.
It's cheaper because instead of changing PPE between patients and using 10, 20 PPEs in a day, which cost 50,000 naira each, you're now just using one, and you're using less. You don't have to use the full thing. You can contact Flying Doctors. Our number is on our website. You can email Flying Doctors as well, and we'll provide it. But we don't just provide the vehicle. We provide the vehicle with the hand washing station, with the disinfectant, with the PPE, and with the test kits. So immediately you have the vehicle, you have an entire testing kit. We also have a training package.
The initiative also takes testing closer to the people as the nation battles community transmission.
Confer so many advantages, because now that we have gone to the level of community testing, sometimes you see med lab scientists collecting samples outside, sometimes in the sun. The vehicle provides a shade, a kind of a shade from that, and then it shields the med lab scientists collecting the sample from any potential, source of infection.
COVID-19 testing vehicle and COVID-19 testing booth are initiatives which will help in combating coronavirus. It is expected that this will awaken the creativity of more Nigerians in the fight against diseases. In Lagos, Hengino John Adams, NTA News.
That's it from this end. Nationwide continues with Hawa in Abuja after this break.
I wish to once again commend the frontline workers across the country who, on a daily basis, risk everything to ensure we win this fight. For those who got infected in the line of duty, rest assured that government will do all it takes to support you and your families during this exceedingly difficult period. I will also take this opportunity to assure you all that your safety, well-being, and welfare remains paramount to our government. I am using this opportunity to express our deepest condolences to the families of all Nigerians that have lost their loved ones as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is our collective loss, and we share your grief.
There is a lot of fake news and report circulating, especially on social media, on the coronavirus. Do not believe or partake in the spread of these fake reports. If it is not on the official website or news from the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, disregard such report. Only together can we beat this virus. Only together can we overcome this pandemic. Follow the instructions and guidelines provided to combat this virus. Most importantly, stay at home. Self-isolate, regardless of your status. The virus doesn't move unless we move. Let us work together to better Nigeria. Together, we can do this.
This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
This is to say a big thank you to all the healthcare workers who put their lives on the line, working in all the 36 states of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, especially Lagos, Kano, Ogun, and Abuja, to ensure that we beat COVID-19 in the least possible time. Thank you so much. You are our superheroes. This message is from the Governor's Wives Forum, the wife of the Vice President and the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Welcome, dear. Have you washed your hands?
Inside my house again. This thing not the key black man.
I don't know if it's misinformation or poor hygiene that will kill you first. Coronavirus is real, and good hygiene practice will save your life. Anyway, no hand washing, no eating.
I will not take care of it. I was one of the parents. Coronavirus is real and it's on the rise. But you can help yourself and help others to be safe. Remember, we can stop the spread. It's in your hands.
This message is from the Akinfade Foundation in partnership with the National Orientation Agency with support from MacArthur Foundation.
Thanks for rejoining us on Nationwide. The Anambra State Governor, Willie Obiano, says his administration is committed to delivering quality health care in the rural communities. Governor Obiano said this when he inspected a 100-bed hospital facility at Umeri General Hospital, equipped by one of the financial institutions in the state. Uchenna Nwokwe reports.
Umeri General Hospital is one of the oldest hospitals in Anambra East local government area. The hospital is one of the such centers equipped with 20 beds by the state government to receive would-be patients of the novel coronavirus disease. Governor Obiano is, however, delighted that the financial institution operational in the state has equipped the hospital with an additional 100 beds as part of his contribution in the fight against coronavirus pandemic.
So this hospital has now 120 beds. We'll ensure we increase the number of doctors and the nurses, so that when people come here, they will come to a beautiful hospital.
The Chief of Staff to the State, Primus Odley, and the State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Vincent Okpala, had earlier inspected the functionality of the equipment in another isolation center at the Immaculate Heart Multispecialty Hospital, Aguleri, also in Anambra East local government area.
This facility has all those devices that will help a patient to support improve their oxygenation and support respiration. So for very many patients, if they come here, they have the facility to take care of them.
Since the outbreak of coronavirus in the country, Anambra State has recorded only one case who has been treated and discharged. Okoyo, NTA News.
And with rapid changes in events and happenings across the country are now constantly driving the public to seek sources for information to keep abreast of major developments, driving headlines across all platforms, with many unconfirmed and unverified accounts of happenings in the public domain. NTA now links up with our reporters in the field to establish the authenticity of some of these claims. We join Mustafa Yusuf Musa in Damaturu, Rafia Anima Shao Badmos in Ibadan, Fatima Sunusi Karaye in Kanu, and Emmanuel Akila in Gombe. Good afternoon to you all. I'm going to be starting with Mustafa in Damaturu. What do we have on the investigation into the cause of the reported death in Yobe State? We hear Potiskum is the hardest hit. What is the government's position on this?
Yeah, in the last couple of weeks, there was this reported cases of death in 3 local government areas of Yobe State, particularly in Potiskum, Nguru, and Gashua. So yesterday we went to Potiskum town. It's a cosmopolitan town in Yobe State. A lot of people, and we went to the graveyard. We went to the town. We met with the director of personnel management of the local government, and we inquired about the situation. He told us that in the 5 graveyards in the town, last from 30th April to 3rd of May, they reported about 150 deaths, though not connected with COVID-19. And in Gashua and Guru, is the same story. A lot of deaths, but not connected with COVID-19. Even yesterday, the Commissioner of Information released a statement, and the spokesman of the governor released a statement. And just a while ago, the Commissioner of Health, Dr. Mohamed Loangana, had a press conference with journalists while he briefed them about the situation. He said they are about the situation. They have sent an investigative team to look into the causes of the deaths around those areas.
Okay, Mustafa, while investigation is ongoing, what is the position of the government at this time?
Yeah, the government has constituted a committee to immediately look at the remote causes of such deaths, so that at least they will intervene. But they have sent their team to those areas to go and find out.
Okay, I'm going to put you on pause now and go to Fatima in Kanu. Fatima, Kanu is still in complete lockdown, but then people are having to take their sick to the hospital nonetheless, and not necessarily because of COVID-19. What do you have on claims that doctors in Kanu are shying away from hospital, attending to outpatients over the fear of COVID-19?
Well, hello, Hawa. Nice to see you. What is happening in Kano is that doctors are not absconded from their duty post. I spoke with Professor Issa Abubakar of Center for Infectious Diseases at Amina Kano Teaching Hospital a while ago, and he told me that most hospitals in Kano, some workers have contracted this novel coronavirus. And you know, they cannot come to work. They have to isolate themselves to protect their patients. In some hospitals, even those issuing cards have this virus. So it is making it difficult for both health workers and patients. The public relation officer of Malam Amina Kano Teaching Hospital also told me that the situation is affecting, it's only affecting pediatric, it's not affecting pediatric doctors, family medicine doctors, and so on. So when doctors and other workers who are infected isolate themselves, there is a gap because there is no one to do their work for them.
So how do they intend to fill this gap, Fatima? How do they intend to fill this gap?
So what is happening is that hospital, at Amina Teaching Hospital, they gave phone numbers for some doctors for specialty clinics, so that when a patient is in need of seeing a doctor, they will call that number. For example, they gave a number for child and adolescent clinic, adult psychiatry, child health, orthopedic
Okay, that will be all for now, Fatima, while I join Rufia in Ibadan. Rufia, can you confirm if indeed some suspected COVID-19 cases are refusing to be taken to the isolation center in Ibadan?
Good evening. The news about the two confirmed COVID-19 patients are absconded from the isolation center here in Ibadan is not true. There were actually some people that were tested, and before the results came out, 2 out of these people disappeared. They were not able to get to isolation. And of course, after intensive contact tracing, one of them has been found and admitted to the infectious disease control.
Okay, Rafia. I would just join Emmanuel.
This is clear for the vehicle. That presently we have 52 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Oyo State. 16 are active recovered cases, while 34 are active cases. As we speak, too, the isolation center in Olodo is up and running. There are 18 patients there, and there are also plans of establishing isolation centers.
Rafia, thank you very much for the update there, but I'm just going to join Emmanuel Akila now in Gombe. Emmanuel, what is the latest on the treatment of COVID-19 patients in Gombe? How have things changed since the return to the treatment center? That's after the protest.
Hello? Yeah, I'm listening.
Emmanuel, if you can hear me, I just asked what the latest is on the treatment of COVID-19 patients in Gombe after the return to the treatment center. That's after the protest.
Thank you very much, Hawa, and thank you for joining us in Gombe. Actually, what happened yesterday in Gombe State, particularly in the metropolis, has been described as an absurd situation by a lot of people, because patients who are supposed to be in isolation came out for testing on some issues that they regard as welfare. And as at the moment, the task force committee on COVID-19 in the state has rallied round support and ensured that all of them that came out for protest yesterday in some of the centers have been returned to the isolation centers. And during the state task force briefing today, the task force committee assured that they have contained the situation, and all the patients that have been returned are being taken care of, and some of the demands that they raised during the protest have been attended to. And one important thing that you need to know, Hawa, is that Gombe State has a sharp rise in the number of confirmed cases, which is standing at 103 at the moment. But the good news is that since the confirmation of the 5 index cases in April 21st, none of the confirmed cases is showing symptoms of COVID-19. So during the briefing yesterday, the State Task Force on COVID-19 said some of them have tested, and they will continue to be tested and tested, so that when they are found negative, they will finally be discharged. But meanwhile, the state government has set up isolation centers, over 300 bed spaces, and a treatment center with ventilators.
Emmanuel, thank you very much. Emmanuel, thank you very much for the update. We are glad that things are getting back to normal in Gombe. And guys, thank you very much for joining us on Nationwide today. We truly appreciate your contributions.
You're welcome, Hawa.
Moving on, supermarkets, pharmacies and markets are among the public places which are exempted from closure during the COVID-19 lockdown. Olabode Arewa in this report examines the level of compliance with the health and social distancing measures outlined by the National Center for Disease Control.
In the wake of the federal government's gradual relaxation of the lockdown imposed on Lagos, Ogun and Abuja, residents of these areas have resumed their usual hustle and bustle. These young shoppers are just emerging from a supermarket at Wuse in the heart of the Federal Capital Territory. Just like many Nigerians, restrictions occasioned by the coronavirus pandemic have not dampened their love for shopping.
Like before you go inside, if you don't have a face mask, they'll tell you to get one at the entrance. Then you sanitize your hands before you go inside.
The safety measure and the precaution they are taking is better than before.
They are following all the instructions by NCDC. And there is no long queues also here as usual like last week and early this week.
Their observations on the level of compliance with the health guidelines on COVID-19 was confirmed at some supermarkets visited by a news crew, where the customers were made to wash their hands before entry. This supermarket in the heart of Abuja has gone further to provide a billboard informing customers of the need to put on face masks and to wash their hands before they go into the supermarket.
That's a national policy that every customer coming into any supermarket must wear mask, wash his hands, and of course use the hand sanitizer.
Yes, we have situations like that where customers will come and we want to give them a hand sanitizer. Maybe, for instance, they're not putting on face masks, and the security at the gate will tell them to put on face masks. They will angrily leave. That they have their face masks at home and stuff like that. They will angrily leave.
The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 has consistently advised Nigerians to avoid crowding in public places and use the face mask, having identified community transmission as one of the reasons for the increase in COVID-19 infections. In Abuja, Olaboderewa, NTA News.
Long queues were seen in banks across the country immediately after the lockdown put in place to curb the coronavirus pandemic was relaxed. Days after, what's the situation? Let's now join Muplang Dakok, who visited some banks in Abuja.
In front of one of the banks in central area this Thursday, and we observed that the social distancing rule is being obeyed. People have to wear their masks before allowed entry into the banks. We also noticed that the staff of the bank are trying as much as possible to control the crowds.
I enjoy the service, the way they are attending to people, so that it will decongest the population in the bank.
The social distance is the first thing, and people are not allowed to go in front of the crowd like we used to do before.
In another bank, we found people being made to sit around and stand outside to avoid congesting the banking hall.
It's like a lot of people were just waiting for the lockdown to be released so that they can come do their pending transactions. So actually I've been here since 7 a.m. and unfortunately the network has been so down, so I've not been able to achieve what I came for.
When I came in, I washed my hands, I was given a number, and I went to do my transaction successfully. Well, I had no problem at all. It was well conducted. Yes.
Since there are so many customers to attend to within the 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. permitted time for banking operations, many banks have sent emails to customers encouraging them to still use online channels and ATM machines for their transactions. In Abuja, Muplang Dakok, NTA News.
And Zulay in our Kaduna Network Center is next in line with more reports. Hello, Zulay.
Well, good evening and welcome to Kaduna. As the country continues to grapple its way out of the coronavirus pandemic, concerns are high that the elderly and those with health complications are at risk of being neglected by health facilities on account of their vulnerability to the virus. Achari Maxwell in this report takes a look at the elderly in the hospital amidst the novel coronavirus.
Ifkatu Bako is at the Barao Diko Teaching Hospital's Kaduna with an unconscious 73-year-old mother who is just one out of the many 8 patients currently being attended to at this facility. This reality contrasts with the speculations that the elderly are most often denied access to medical attention due to their vulnerability to the coronavirus.
My mother is 73, but they're attending to her.
Professor Abdulkadir Musa Tabari, the Chief Medical Director of the hospital, confirms that the hospital receives patients regardless of their age, and with adequate measures put in place to prevent them from exposure to the virus. Where applicably, he says, consultations are done through the GSM to save the patients from coming to the hospitals.
For instance, any particular mode of treatment, you can call and we can ask you to continue, or we describe to you what you should do and continue at home, for instance. Also, we have some other patients also that are taking medications. If you can call and tell us that your job has finished and you're supposed to come back to the hospital date. So we ask you whether you have additional symptoms. If you have additional symptoms, the doctor doctor now will tell you what to do next, whether to continue their drugs or to change their drugs.
Those that are not critically ill, we ask them to wait outside. We receive the emergency cases. And thereafter, we tell the other ones that are not critically ill, we bring them inside. So when we don't allow them to come en masse, they feel we don't want to attend to them, and that's why they say we are sending them away.
Barao Dikko Teaching Hospital is one of the major healthcare facilities in Kaduna State. Achari Maxwell, NTA News.
And Kaduna State Command of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps says it has impounded more than 20 vehicles of drivers who violate the ban on interstate travel. The State Commandant of the Corps, Babangida Abdullahi Dutima, stated this while monitoring the level of compliance. Ahmed Umar Kudan reports.
The ban on interstate travel is meant to curb the spread of coronavirus, as most of the people who tested positive for the virus in Kaduna State have travel history. In spite of the ban on interstate travel, movement of food items and other essential goods is allowed. Operatives of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps and other security agencies are at different locations to prevent the influx of passengers into Kaduna, with the State Commandant of the Corps, Babangida Abdullahi Duzama, monitoring enforcement at the entry and exit points. He says the command has apprehended many defaulters and handed them over for prosecution in the COVID-19 mobile courts.
Those that intend to break the law, we cannot just allow them to go free. Some of the vehicles that we found are not very necessary, or they are not carrying essential facilities. We impounded them and make sure that the owners are prosecuted, and the drivers are prosecuted.
The command has also advised travelers to avoid Kaduna State, as security operatives will not relent in enforcing the interstate travel ban in the fight against COVID-19. In Kaduna, Ahmed Umar Kudan, NTA News.
And we're back to Hawa in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Very well, Zule. And back here in Abuja, the United Nations Women has donated over 38 million naira to the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs as support to Nigerian women who are worst hit by the effects of the lockdown. Mamso Nta2 captured the presentation at the Women Affairs Ministry.
The Ministry of Women Affairs is opening its gates after the long compulsory lockdown break. Activities are gradually picking up, and the first callers to the ministry are the United Nations women.
No longer in the shadows, cause to stay behind.
Open gates later led to wide smiles, as they did not come empty-handed, but with some monetary support for Nigerian women who was hit by the effects of the lockdown.
Frontline services in Lagos, for example, have reported a 300% increase in gender-based violence cases from March to April. So in view of some of these challenges being faced by women, UN Women is very happy to be collaborating with the Ministry of Women's Affairs as part of its humanitarian response. Hope that the support will meet the immediate needs of up to 12,600 vulnerable women and girls by improving their food security and their access to hygiene.
The Minister of Women Affairs, Paul Ntalan, is appreciative of the gesture, promising equitable distribution among women across the 36 states.
We continue to appreciate and work together to see that Nigerian women are well cared for. These palliatives and whatever we are reaching out to, the poorest of the poor, those who live on daily business to earn their living.
38,453,660 naira is the support received. In Abuja, Momso Nta2, NTA News.
The can-do spirit in ensuring self-protection is given priority in the fight against the novel coronavirus pandemic. It's been re-emphasized by the leadership of the Radio, Television, Theatre and Arts Workers Union, Ratau. This follows distribution of safety palliatives to media workers in the FCT to promote personal hygiene and observe regulatory guidelines. Abubakar Usman Akwanga completes the report.
The continued involvement of the media as one of the frontline agencies in the fight against coronavirus pandemic is the reason for the distribution of these protective kits.
The growing waves and increasing impact of coronavirus pandemic to human lives, especially frontline workers, has remained on the front burner of stakeholders in the media industry. Worried by the situation, Nta2 is taking the bull by the horn to mitigate chances of its members being exposed to contracting COVID-19 in a bid to accurately inform the public on update of the pandemic.
As politicians and policymakers find ways of mitigating this threatening epidemic, medical practitioners, among whom are members of our union, deserve special commendation for the reportage of COVID-19 despite the hazards associated with it.
And we monitor it to make sure that this thing gets down to our members. And you as the chairman, you have to be giving us reports every week.
Comrade Afo James is a staff with the Nigerian Press Council and says she observes safety measures from home to workplace and appreciates the intervention by Nta2.
I'll make sure that it's on me. I'll wear it, then in some few minutes I'll go and wash my hands when I touch them, because what some people don't know is that we are using toilets in the office. Some people will come and they'll use hand to open the door and to close it. The moment you go, you come back, you wash your hands.
The union is also making case for more support that will motivate its members to stay alive and carry out daunting national assignment.
The measures is in tune with the efforts of Nta2 in safeguarding the lives of its members while in line of duty. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Apanga, NTA News.
Agatha, in our Benin Network Center, will now guide us on top stories from that axis.
Hawa, a warm welcome to Benin. 107 travelers flouting the federal government's restriction on interstate movement have been intercepted in various parts of Edo State by security agents enforcing the lockdown of interstate boundaries. A report. Of the 107 travelers, 26 en route Zaria from Rivers State, being ferried in a truck laden with salt, were intercepted on Saple Road in Benin City. They were interrogated by Governor Godwin Obaseki at the Stella Obasanjo Hospital Isolation Center.
We're going to do testing for all of them. After this is done, we will have all their records.
81 others moving from Kano State were intercepted at night in Esa Central Local Government Area. They were screened at the Idra Specialist Teaching Hospital.
Those who are due for PCR testing will then be tested. Once we get the results, of course, the NCDC will be informed, the state government will be informed.
Mostly children and women were inside the truck. You can see we are trying to profile them.
Some of the migrants explained why they embarked on the journey.
Namaru go drive. That place where I did, therefore I'll go Lagos.
The reason that we came out from our hometown because of the life we are, that is why. And most of us doesn't have money.
The travelers have been sent back. The Oba of Benin, Ewaye II, has donated palliatives to the Edo State Council of the Nigerian Union of Journalists. It is to help cushion the effects of the coronavirus pandemic. Ifeoma Okafo reports.
Just like other essential workers at the front line in the fight against COVID-19, journalists are also exposed to various hazards. Therefore, the palliative from the Oba, which he sent through the Oba Ewaye Foundation to journalists at the NUJ Secretariat, were received with great joy.
Because we have been endowed to do our work, which we have been called upon to do, Oba remembered us.
Delivering the welfare packages, the Obasoge of Benin Kingdom, Edu Ehato, and other members of the entourage described Oba as the father of all, who recognizes the unique role journalists play in every society.
He fed charity begins at home. He has started with the NUJ to give them this palliative measure of cushioning what is going on. He is going to do more to all the local government area, But before then, he said we should start from here.
For him to remember the journalists at this particular time in the world, we sincerely appreciate him.
Some of the items donated include noodles, bags of rice, face masks, and hand sanitizers. In Benin, Ifoma Okafor, NTA News.
That ends our package. Nationwide continues after this break. To stay.
The number of the COVID-19 cases in Nigeria is increasing daily, with many more tests ongoing. The battle of testing, isolating, treating, and attending to the affected persons rests heavily on the shoulders of our health workers, constantly putting their lives on the line and at risk to contain this virus, save and protect the lives of millions of Nigerians. To these health workers, we at the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, on behalf of millions of Nigerians, say a big thank you for all that you have done and are doing. To the security agencies enforcing the lockdown and every other frontliner, we say thank you for putting your lives on the line to save ours. There is no amount of words that can quantify our gratitude. Thank you. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
Staying at home is the most responsible thing to do. Please, learn a new skill. Be a better version of yourself. That's what I spend my time doing. Prevention, they say, is better than cure. I beg, make we sit down for house. I know some of us want to get back to socializing, but if we don't sit down for us, no good feel happen. Please, stay safe and stay responsible.
The following guidelines for eased lockdown, as announced by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, are effective from 4th May 2020 in Abuja, Lagos, and Ogun states. For public spaces, the following are mandatory: improvised face masks, temperature checks, hand washing facilities and hand sanitizers, physical distance of at least 2 meters, no sporting activities and mass gathering. On travel, these are prohibited: passenger flights, interstate travel except essential services, movement of agro products and petroleum products. Note, there will be mandatory supervised isolation of returnees for at least 14 days. For markets and offices, neighborhood markets are to open 3 times a week from the hours of 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Banks and financial services are to open from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Government offices are open only to staff from grade level 14 to 17 between the hours of 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. daily. Corporate offices and private sector are open to business from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Schools, churches, mosques, clubs, bars and gardens remain closed till further notice. COVID-19 is real. Take responsibility and stay safe.
What be this coronavirus thing? Now true? You see this coronavirus will be COVID-19. Now the whole world palaver, and it don't they kill many people for China, Italy, UK, US, Spain, and even for other countries. Then. Okay, what can be the reason why they say make everybody tap that for house? Now because if they waka pium go carry them from person we don't get them, you go carry come give your family them. Now so the thing take they kill other people for other countries. Okay, what can be that social distancing self? You see social distance. Now make we no come close, because this thing now from air and touch now with the contact. We suppose they at least 6 foot away from each other every time. So okay, no be only to wash your hand and to sanitize them alone. Make we not take this washing of hand thing take play, but make we come together, join hand as we take pursue Ebola, pursue this coronavirus. Make we be each other be keepers.
It's still nationwide. It's the 4th day since the federal government relaxed the lockdown in the Federal Capital Territory, Lagos and Ogun states, and all sectors of the economy are gradually picking up. What is the situation in the FCT? Kunle Adeye takes the story from here.
This is one of the financial institutions at Area 3 in the Federal Capital Territory. The reason for the crowd can be understood. After 5 weeks of lockdown, customers must have issues that need to be resolved, but this is a total contrast to safety precautions given by the federal government for easing the lockdown, a situation bank customers described as unfortunate.
What I'm seeing is to me is an eyesore, it's actually defeating the aim which the government has said social distancing should be met. But with what I'm seeing, to be honest with you, this is not good.
It was a different scenario at another commercial bank at Area 8.
I must commend the bank for complying with the federal government directives. Operation India has been wonderful. People actually complying to social distance, and I think if other banks can emulate, I think it's worth of emulation.
Wuse and Utako markets were not open for commercial activities since the day does not fall among those scheduled for market operations. But the Wuse bus stop is another flashpoint that came alive on Thursday.
But we are maintaining the social distancing. You can still look at my vehicle. It's just one at the front and two at the back. And you must fix your nose mask. If not, we will not allow you to enter.
Time will tell if the ease on restriction will continue, since the level of compliance with the federal government guidelines would be assessed soon before further pronouncements. In Abuja, Kunle Adeye, NTA News.
As schools remain shut, occasioned by the coronavirus pandemic, educational online programs for students and pupils have been ongoing in Calabar, Cross River State. With impressive feedbacks from some students and parents, accessibility to network and insufficient funds to acquire data for telecommunication purposes are, however, viewed as some major challenges associated with the program. Maureen Leo Ajom reports.
Technology is the ability to make use of what we've learned in science. I talk on things to respect.
That is the soundtrack from the School on Radio for students and pupils, as well as parents who are being told to encourage their wards to be positively engaged during the period of lockdown. As part of sacrifices during the pandemic, this private media outfit, in collaboration with the state government, put together the School on Radio program, which runs daily on core subjects like mathematics, English studies, basic science, and civic education.
With regards to this, we rose up and began this program long before even the federal government came up with theirs.
They're given homework every day on the show, and if you get it right, there's this prize for you. So the children are responding.
Some private schools in the state are also engaging their pupils and students on online learning, and the feedback explains its acceptability.
We just have to put our heads together to make it work for the kids.
It has also helped to take the child away from the cartoon and other activities he has always been involved in.
Why those of our people, our children in the city are benefiting, I'm still wondering how our children in the hinterland are going to cope with it.
Findings reveal that factors such as non-availability of network and proper supply negate the effectiveness of the program. In Calabar, Maureen Leo Ajom, NTA News.
And from Calabar to Kano, where 2 warehouses stocked with several tons of food items have been sealed in Kano by the State Public Complaints and Anti-Corruption Commission for allegedly hoarding the commodities. Yohanasu Hassan Barau completes the report.
Beyond the tragic health hazard of COVID-19, the economic uncertainty and disruptions that have resulted come at a significant cost to the economy. More worrisome is the alleged hoarding of food items by some traders in Kano, who then resell at exorbitant prices, taking advantage of the lockdown order, thereby causing an untold hardship on the vulnerable. This necessitated the prompt intervention of the State Public Complaints and Anti-Corruption Commission to embark on an inspection tour of some warehouses within the metropolis, and the result paid off. These are thousands of bags of wheat flour and cartons of pasta foods found at a warehouse along Konat Danja. But the question here is, the world is now battling with the invisible enemy, COVID-19. People are needing food, especially during this period of Ramadan. Why are people holding this kind of food items?
Some people take advantage of this, unfortunate situation and engage in certain activities that make it so difficult for just an ordinary common man to survive. We have to go to court, we have to prosecute the case because it's a crime, and certainly we are optimistic of conviction. After conviction, then this property will go to the masses.
We also want traders to desist from this ungodly act, saying the process is a continuous one until sanity is maintained. In Kano, Yohannes Hassanbaro, NTA News.
Now to Benue, where Governor Samuel Otom has charged security agencies in the state to arrest with immediate effect persons suspected to perpetrate crises in various communities of the state. The governor gave the order shortly after the state expanded Security Council meeting in Makurdi. Charles Abba reports that the council also suspended 3 traditional leaders for allegedly abating crisis in their domains.
Issues of communal clashes in Makurdi, Ushongo, Gwewes and other areas of Benue State dominated deliberations at the State Expanded Security Council meeting. Governor Samuel Otom, who reminded herdsmen that the open grazing prohibition and ranches establishment law is still in force, lamented the spate of communal clashes and other disturbances being perpetrated even in the face of COVID-19. He announced the suspension of a kindred head and 2 district heads, Chief Peter Ikyum of Isho and Chief Age Kuhe of Mbasumbo, alleged to be brains behind some of the land disputes that have displaced many people.
Where there are crises, the first thing to do is to find amicable dialogue and discussion and resolution. It is not to take arms against yourself.
He explained that the Security Council has set up a panel to investigate the immediate and remote causes of the impasse and asked the Tortiv to set up a committee to probe the gravity of the allegations leveled against the suspended chiefs. As a solution to the present economic downturn occasioned by COVID-19, the governor reiterated that agriculture is the last resort. In Makurdi, Charles Abba, NTA News.
The remains of one of Nigeria's music icons and high life masteries, Dr. Victor Olaiya, have been laid to rest. The burial was private and was conducted at the Ikoyi Vaults and Gardens with just a sizable number of family members and clerics, in line with the COVID-19 burial guides by the federal and Lagos state governments. And that's Nationwide today. We thank you for being part of it. We remember that staying safe is now a national priority. Good evening.
I am Elizabeth Amai. I am here to talk about facts. There is so much misinformation and distortion out there, especially on the social media. All it takes is just a click and the fake news goes viral. However, here in NTA, we deal with facts.
My job is to go out there and comb for factual news and information, just the way it is, all in the interest of the nation. I'm Nta2
Here on the NCA, we present only the facts, verified. Beware of fake news, don't be a victim. Stay tuned to the NCA.
Especially at this time of the coronavirus pandemic.
My name is Nta2.
To get your dream job, the perfect girl, even a table at your favorite dance club. It takes moving fast. It takes moving at the speed of 4G. With Ntel 4G LTE, you've got it all covered. That's because you have access to super fast unlimited data that enables you move as fast as the speed of light. Now, no download is too heavy. No conversation too long. Nothing is impossible. Get Ntel 4G LTE Advanced today and do so much more. Ntel. Live more.
You are welcome to another season of Lens. Did you guys miss me? Because I missed you guys. And we're really proud to be bringing the show to you from the Thought Pyramid Art Center, Ikoyi, Lagos. Now, this show promises to be entertaining, creative, and artistic, just like the artworks we have here. All of these and much more right here on the network service of the NTA. Do not move an inch. The first thought that came to my mind when I entered this art center was the fact that it is actually really thoughtful. All the pieces here were carefully put together, and that just best reflects the name, the Thought Pyramid Art Center. All right, now let's take you into the world of creative fashion brand Euphoria Nigeria as we get enlightened on men's clothing and fashion and the process of tailoring. We had a chat with the creative director, Kayode Olufon. Enjoy.
While in school, usually people just come to me for style advice, and so from there I tell them colors to match, how to match their outfits. Basically started from there till the time I made my first outfit for someone to wear. You know, it wore for a performance in school back then, and you know it turned out to be really nice. People came with a lot of commendations. So that's how it started. That's how men's fashion started for me. Running a men's fashion outfit is quite interesting as well as challenging. Men generally are a bit rigid when it comes to style. They're not as outgoing as the female counterpart. We tend to be more conservative. But things are beginning to change. Things are beginning to, look up now. We're beginning to add a bit of color, a bit of style, a bit of drama to the menswear industry. Challenges we face include, suggesting styles that you would know would work well for a particular event to clients, and they're like, oh no, it's too shouty, it's too loud. I don't want to be seen, as a loud person. I want it to just be simple, So I mean, it reduces how creative you can be sometimes. We notice nowadays that things are beginning to change. You see men wearing clothes that actually look like dresses, and things are beginning to look up in the men's fashion industry. So basically, the type of conversation we have with clients is, what are they comfortable in first? That's the first thing I would ask you before I clothe you as a guy. What are you comfortable in? What works for you? What colors would you not wear? Because the essence of style for us is comfort. You have to be comfortable enough in what you're wearing to pull it off successfully. We'll talk about colors. We'll talk about fits. Fit is very essential because a plain outfit with the right fit makes 1,000 statements. Yeah, so what's the stuff for you to join? Okay? So let me join that. So that's for now. Yes, show that Tox pants. Tox pants. Okay, strap on the side. Then one normal one, topless. We start from design conceptualization. We have to have a design in mind before we start production. So we work with the client. We sit down with the client. We talk. Okay, so what are you trying to achieve? What look are you trying to give off? What do you want to look like? When people see you. Fabric can either make mar the outcome of the final production. So we don't joke with fabric selection. Fabric sourcing for us is really important, and it's just done by a few people around here. We don't just give anybody the opportunity to source fabric for us. We take it very seriously. So sourcing for fabric based on the design we're working on is quite critical. Fabric for different body shapes, matters. How a cashmere fabric will sit on body type A is different from how it will sit on body type B. So the how heavy the fabric is also matters. How light, how dry, how crisp. Whether we use patterns, whether we use stripes, whether we use checkered. All those things really matters.
This is a pants, a black pants with belt strap. Right now it's fixing the belt strap on the waist of the pants. So this takes another 20 to 30 minutes to finish joining. It's already it's fixing the band already, so we're towards the last stages of joining the pants.
From men's fashion, now we will take you into the world of exciting style at the Ayovan Elmer Fashion Party that took place in the city of Lagos. Now, you guys, this party was a 3-in-1 party as the creative designer celebrated her birthday, launched a collection, and graduated from fashion school. Talk about achieving a feat. Okay, enjoy this clip.
I'm here to support my girl Ayovan Elma. I'm very, very happy that she's launching a new collection, Salt. I can't wait to see it. I can see some of them on rack now. I definitely will go see it. Working with Ayo over the years has been seamless. Ayo is one of the few Nigerian designers, if I may say, that has made my life as a stylist extremely easy. She's highly principled and she's always there to support you. Whatever it is that I need styling-wise for my clients, Ayo is always there to make my life super duper easy, if I may say so myself.
Risky, yes, your body risky. Risky. Oh, yo.
Roach Beach.
Big ways, 5 face, 10 days. I don't dare wait for you, my charge. For you, my charge. You want the phone? Yes. No case. I no go talk. Scarface for you, my charge. For you, my charge. Take me everywhere you want to go.
It's about the collection for Spring Summer 2020, and it's called Salt, and it's such an amazing collection. I think it's the best that I've done so far, and I think as an artist you should actually continue to overdo yourself. I've been working on it for longer than a year. I'll take a break from it and edit and edit and edit, and take a break and edit and edit and edit again. You know, you want it this way, you sketch, you have this imagination, it turns out differently. It's always very good to take all your time on an artistic process, don't rush it, and start early enough. So Salt was inspired when I was on an island in Spain. I usually travel to get inspiration, and I'd gone to Spain, I'd been on the Canary Islands in Lanzarote, and I would just sit by the salt beds and watch how the sun was setting on the salt lakes. Now light was transmitted, and the colors were so inspiring and so beautiful. And there was this particular kind of purple that you actually see when you look around and you see the collection. So that's about the collection so far. It's beautiful, it's extravagant, it's opulent, it's just, I think it's a really, really magnificent collection.
Waiting me down, nothing I can't do for my baby, my baby. Anytime when you need me, come to me, my shawty, wallet. Waiting me down, nothing I can't do for my baby, my shawty, oh, my baby, say you there for me.
I think this particular collection is a very, there's such a togetherness, there's such a synergy of cultures, of colors, of prints. It's so unique, it's so diverse. This collection is so diverse. I've got prints, I've got laces, I've got African prints, I've got silks, florals. It's just so rich. It's sheer, it's intense, it's got embroidery. It was like really going all the way, like like any international luxury brand does their collection. So I think it's been very special. It's also the last collection that I'm doing while I was still studying fashion, because I studied fashion at the University of Arts in Vienna, and it's been a 5-year program. It's just come to an end. So it's like the collection that I was working on right at the end of my degree.
Ayo will be there for you any and every time. Ayo would give her last money just to make you happy. Ayo will feed you. Ayo will clothe you. Ayo will give you water for free. Like, she's so selfless. And those are attributes that are extremely difficult to find, not just in the fashion industry, but in life. You know, when they say every day be kind to someone, Ayo is that person that is kind to someone every day. So I'm really happy for you, girl. Congratulations, and I love you so much. Mwah.
Amaka, bring your friends over, party la waya. Let's all, baby. No go look like this, Gucci gang, baby, baby. Dark on my knees. Let's all.
Talk about fashion school. Fashion school was pretty tough. It was a 5-year program, which took me 9 years, by the way, because I started in 2010, and I'll go to school for a year and take a year out to work on my fashion business, then go to school for another year and take another year out to work on my fashion business. So it's taken me 5 years in a course of 9 years, and I don't regret it. I think everyone is different, and stay true to yourself, know yourself. And while I was studying, I always wanted to take a step back to breathe, to do more the business side and focus on the business, and then go back to school, get educated, get knowledge. It was very tough because, getting back into the system, also like having your colleagues that you started with already out of school, and all those kind of factors, it didn't bother me, but it was good that I kept on coming back and I took my time. So it was an intense program. It was a program in German, and like German systems, very, very intense. But of course, it definitely paid out.
At the Ayo Vanelma fashion party right now, and right now I am the photographer. We are like 4 photographers actually right now, and we are dressed like this because it's just for us to actually stand out and look unique amongst every other person that is around. So basically this is just our thing, and Oye Productions has actually been in existence since like 2017, yes, and this is how we actually do our things. We go to events, dress well, look good, and actually, but right now, Ayo Vanelma was the one that styled this. She was the one in charge of styling us right now. So wherever we go for events, majorly fashion too, they are always styling us for us to look different amongst the crowd. So that's it.
The legacy that I would love to give to young people who are looking to do fashion, I always say, is educate yourself. You don't need to travel abroad. You don't need to go to an institution. I'm not talking about brick and mortar kind of institution. You can go and intern. You can go and do a year or 2. 3 months is not enough. 6 months is not enough to be in the market and start your own brand. It's too short. You need at least 2 years work for somebody, gather money in the time. Don't start from the top. We started from the bottom and we're here. It's been a long process. It's taken me since 2010 and I still have a long way to go. I don't even feel like I've started yet. So please take time to educate yourself and make sure that you have a plan for your finance. You know, work for someone and gather money together, because if you start out on a very, very, very little budget, you're going to be frustrated, you're going to be broke, you know, and it won't work. So please take time to educate yourself and make sure that you have a direction and that you have a budget for building your business as well.
Now, don't you just love that collection titled Salt? Salt, that is like a really thoughtful name for a fashion collection. You are still watching Lens on the network service of the NTA. Now we have a pretty little girl named Nifemi Olabode, who is our guest on All About Music for today. We got talking with her and she shares with us a career as a music artist.
I'm a singer and welcome to my school. Thank you. You are bigger than the biggest. God gave me talent to sing. I just like felt the inspiration to sing when I was 5. So.
To be frank, I wasn't even expecting that we were going to start anything that soon. I was just thinking, later, whenever she's ready. And when I heard that, when I had that spirit tell me it's time to start, you know, I was like, is she not too young? But then in life, there is never a time that is too late or too early to start a thing.
Pass out that our God is a good God, that he's the one that gives you life, that you should praise him, that he's almighty God. Nigeria, can you help me say Nigeria? I want people to know that Nigeria is a great country, because I want people to feel love. Singing is my life. Singing is a part of me. I face the challenges of sometimes hard sleeping when I want to sing. Sometimes I face the challenge of singing low.
Really, working in Ife, it has been a great thing for me. It all started when his dad called me rather, and I was really great. It was really a great thing for me to work with her. She's really talented. She can never stop singing. That's one thing about her, and I never got tired of working with her personally. So it's always a thing for me. Never been called to come around to work with Ife. It's always like, okay, we are all playing till night. You can just keep on with singing. So it has really been a great thing.
My dad helps me. My dad always tells me I can do it, just practicing.
She needs counsel, and I've discovered that along this way, she has a future. She has a hope in that. So I encourage her to that point. She wants to be the biggest, if possible, and that's the future I'm seeing for her. That she'll be a great inspirational singer, not just one that just come up and just live life anyhow, but leave a landmark in people's hearts, give hope to people that are hopeless, not just with her singing alone, even with her whole life too.
Just try to listen to our kids and know what they love doing, because in this case of Nife, like, what if the father didn't try to watch her closely, or in case of some African parent, like, okay, I want you to do this, even when